guys, it's Lindsay, and today I have a very exciting video for you. I've decided to start a new series for both my reader audience and my writer audience that is called Book Recommendations for Writing ... subject. So every week I'm going to have a new topic and I'm going to be recommending you books that I think explored that topic very well. Because this is a topic that I personally struggle with as a preferential first-person writer, I'm going to be recommending you guys books today that really explore third-person voice well. In my opinion. So because we all write different categories and different genres, I thought it would be really helpful to kind of break these down into middle grade, YA, and adult, and also try to pull from as many genres as I can. I usually read fantasy, so that's where most of the recommendations are coming from, but I have some extras there for you. Starting with middle grade, the first book that I want to talk about is Arusha and the End of Time by Roshani Chakshi. This book is about a little girl who accidentally wakes up the god of death because she's a bit of a liar, but to me, the voice is the most shining part of this entire story. Aru is a liar, and that comes off very apparent. She lies to everyone, and she doesn't do it to be mean, but she kind of does it to just like be cool or fit in. And she also makes a ton of pop culture references, and I think because of those two kind of the flaw of lying a lot and the pop culture reference make her feel really ingrained in this society and make her feel real and raw. So I think that if you're writing middle grade, she is just the perfect, cute, quirky but still flawed voice that I think you should definitely check out. The next great third-person voice that I want to recommend you guys is the Iron Trial series by Cassandra Clare and Holly Black. I absolutely love this series. I pitched it so many times as like Harry Potter if Harry Potter was told in the perspective of like a grumpy, disabled Ron Weasley. Main character Callum's voice is so strong and so clear just because he does take his grumpy and pessimistic views and the fact that he's disabled, and all of those things combined kind of color the world around him and really give you the perspective that you are Callum when you are reading from his perspective. And the last middle grade that I'm going to recommend is Night Books by J.A. White. Now this is a cute little story about a young chubby boy who kind of gets whisked off into this like kind of portal fantasy with this evil witch, and he has to figure out how to get home and escape. But his voice is so good because not only is he kind of like chubby and that kind of colors his world, he kind of has like a self-conscious view of everything around him without being aware of it, but you as the author are aware of it. But my favorite part of his voice is that he is obsessed with horror. He loves reading spooky stories and watching scary films and writing some scary monster stories himself, and it's just so cute how that colors every bit of his world, especially in this story where he is captured by an evil witch. He's not as like terrified as he should be. He's like really kind of excited to be in this world, and it's so cute. I think that this is probably my best example in the middle grade category of voice. Voice is one of those things that you just read it and you know it, so when you pick it up you're like, oh wow, this is really good, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now as for YA, I have 4 different examples that I thought were great. The first one I'm going to talk about is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This is kind of a dual perspective mystery novel. It's really good. I absolutely loved this, gave it a 5-star. But I think that this third-person voice was so good. And the funny thing is, when I was writing my review for it on Goodreads, I actually forgot that it was third person because the way that Maureen Johnson wrote this was so intimate and so immediate that the whole time I was reading this, I thought it was first person. I don't know how she achieves it, honestly. Like, goals. I would love to know how she did this. You feel so close to our main character Stevie. You understand her, you understand why and how she views the way she does because of her upbringing or because of this obsession with crime that she has. She sees everything in a very analytical way, so her experience in the entire story therefore is filtered through that like really Sherlock Holmes-y analytical way. I don't know how else to describe it. But this is absolutely brilliant. Like, if you are struggling with nailing that third person voice, definitely check this one out. Another great example is Saw Kill Girls by Claire Legrand. This has 3 point of views from 3 different girls that live on this island where a creature is stalking young girls, killing and eating them, and they're trying to figure out what's going on and how to stop him. I think this is another great example, especially if you're doing multiple point of views, because every single one of these girls is very unique. The chapter titles do have the main characters' name at the front of the chapter, but I really feel like that the voice is done so well I could know who was talking without the, you know, the name being up there. Very well done. All of the girls' experiences and past and families and things like that really color how they see the world and how it's portrayed to you. And then I don't think I could talk about YA characters without talking about Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Everyone pretty much knows that Leigh Bardugo is like excellent at characters. There's like 6 different character perspectives in this book, but every single one of them comes off real and raw and well fleshed out and flawed just enough to make them realistic but still lovable. My last YA example would be the Monsters of Verity duology by V.E. Schwab. Now V.E. Schwab is just brilliant when it comes to character voice. She actually makes this list twice because she's so great at this. But I'm specifically going to be talking about the character of August in here. He is the monster. This book is in a dystopian world where there's a girl who wants to be a monster and a boy who is a monster that wants to be human, and every terrible sin or act births a monster in this world. It's a cool duology. You might like it. Check it out. Our main character, August, is a musician, and the coolest thing, like the most brilliant thing about his voice is that everything that he describes in the world is viewed through this lens of music, the sound of music. Everything is like a simile for music, a metaphor for music. To continue the V.E. Schwab hype train, we'll move into our adult novels, and the first one that I have is Vicious. We have 2 characters here who are in college, and while they are writing a paper, doing an experiment, they kind of figure out how to make themselves into superheroes. And of course, not everyone should have superpowers because not everyone is a hero. Sometimes they are villains. Again, just an absolute masterpiece when it comes to voice here. Our 2 main characters, both Eli and Victor, are very distinct, very real. I believe them as human beings. They could be walking, talking people that I went to college with. Gosh, I hope not because they're a little bit psychotic. And my last example is The Storied Life of A.J. Thickery by Gabrielle Zevin. This book follows a grumpy middle-aged man who's really down on his luck, and then his life completely changes when a surprise package lands at his doorstep. I love the voice in here. First of all, we have our main character, AJ. I was like, what's his name? We have our main character, AJ, who's just very grumpy, very pessimistic, and that just colors all of his relationship and the storytelling overall. But he's also a book owner, and he's really kind of like one of those like literary snobs. Like, I have read the best work and I know what's better, and I feel like he would be the person that's like, oh, you read genre fiction? Gross. But because he has such of like a distinct personality, it really comes off in his voice. And man, this character arc, this has what I know this isn't about character arc, but this has one of the best character arcs I've ever read. So these are my recommendations to read if you are writing a third-person voice and need some help or are struggling. Hope you find this helpful. I hope it helped you write, and I hope you enjoy the reads. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!